going for a walk. Last night was the full moon, and what I want to release is caring for others over myself to the point where it's doing harm. I have this heart of gold. I have a beautiful insight, and I love people. But I notice that I prioritize how others feel. I prioritize others' lives more than mine. I prioritize their feelings over mine, and so I maybe put my feelings on hold or don't honor them in the moment when they're screaming out to me. So that's really what I want to let go of this full moon. Also, in conversation with my loved one, I need to also let go of sugarcoating things and just addressing bluntly and to the point what I need to say. And I think that sort of intertwines with caring for others more than myself, that I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to ruin things. I don't want to say the wrong thing. So I just get a bit airy-fairy about things, or I just don't address it in the way that I should. So that will be my focus. And I think it will be very helpful. Also, something that I've learnt recently that I can't quite put my finger on it just yet, but I felt this shift in my body after a very deep conversation with my sister, is that I think I've addressed it in an earlier recording, but I love my alone time, and I love, this journey of self-work and going inward and doing all things good for the health and the wellness. And because I do put myself on a platform and people can hear all about this, and I get to share my truth, which I love doing because I feel like, I've got some pretty good insight and awareness and understanding, and I feel like I can condense it down to a generalized explanation so that it can apply to not just my life. But maybe what I've realized is sometimes I'm hurting the people that I love, and I'm sort of got this tunnel vision of, this is my journey, these are my experiences, these are my feelings, and sometimes I publicize what I'm feeling without even addressing it to my loved ones, if that makes sense. And I've realized that I'm sort of creating just a difficulty in my family relationships. And because I'm a sugarcoater and I do care about their feelings, I'm not, doing things because I hate them, I love them and I don't want to hurt them. So I'm in this I've got a lot on my plate that I want to put my awareness to, and I'm laughing and I'm smiling at it because I love the work. I love improving myself. I love creating deeper connections and relationships with those around me and myself. So I'm like, yay, okay, I've got all these things I can work on, and I know that they're going to benefit me. I was actually meant to go to an ayahuasca retreat on Friday, and I didn't go because, like I said, my plate got full. I had these really, not controversial, I'm just going to stick with that word, but, had these really deep, controversial conversations. And I've got a lot on my plate now. So I didn't feel the need to dive into ayahuasca and ask Mother what I need to work on, because I've got fucking plenty on my plate. And I may not, know every step of the way that I need to do to address it. But what I've realized is I have my loved ones around me that I guess sort of addressed it for me. And, they don't have the tools. That's something that I have to navigate on my own, trial and error. But I know I have my loved ones who are knowing that this is what I need to work on, and so they're going to bear witness and they're going to support me. And I just feel really humbled at the moment. I feel really excited about this next chapter. I feel like I said, a lot on my plate, a lot happening, and I'm learning how to make these big decisions that ultimately do benefit me. And unfortunately, making decisions comes with usually addressing another party and having to let them know what you're doing. And that can be difficult. But hey, growth is in the discomfort. Family and your closest ones, they can be the trickiest because they're the closest to you, but it's just the most important, and I've always known that, but I need to incorporate it into my practice a bit more. I love my family. I always show up, when we're doing things together. But I always know that there's a part of me that urges to show up more, and for me to show up more, that requires me to move through certain things. And I feel like through that conversation I had earlier with my sister, I can really start to make a shift, and I have felt a shift in my body, but like I said, I haven't been able to exactly pinpoint it because I guess I'm just in the practicing phases. I like to think that there are 3 phases in shifting, evolving, growing. So there's a knowing that there's something up, knowing that you need to do something, knowing that something's not right and you need to change. And there's a knowing that there's a better course of direction. And there's a knowing that maybe that course of direction is best for you. So a simple example is bad eating habits. I'm eating sugar for breakfast and I'm eating sugar right before I go to bed. I know that's not right. I know I should have a nutritious breakfast that has protein and fats and is going to fill me and keep me satiated throughout the day. And I know that I shouldn't have chocolate before I go to bed. I know that. And then the second phase is practicing. So, we know this is the best course of direction. We know that we need to make a shift. We know that we need to try something new. The practicing phase can be very lengthy, dependent on what it is you're working on. Because you might have to try a bunch of different approaches. But we're practicing. So maybe I'm going to practice intermittent fasting. Maybe I'm going to practice meal prepping. Maybe I'm going to practice calorie counting if you're into that. Or maybe I'm going to practice acceptance and abundance because, hey, I love sugar and maybe I need to work out a better moderation, but maybe I needed to practice more acceptance. Because maybe your diet isn't that bad. Maybe there could be improvement, but maybe it just needs, a practice of, okay, can I change it 4 days of the week and still marvel in some sugar? Anyway, so there's a knowing that you need to course correct. That's practicing course correction. And then I like to say the third phase is understanding. So you need to make a change. You're practicing that change. And then you're understanding what that change is doing for you. And I feel like when you understand, when you deeply, wholly understand, when you're going through that practicing phase, you are slowly gaining an understanding. But when you do have a full extent of understanding, I feel like it can become a habit then quite easily, whatever it is, whatever course correction you've gone on. So there's a knowing, there's a practicing, and then there's an understanding. When we understand health, when we understand nutrition, when we understand the impacts that it has on our body and what this new routine will do for our bodies, then we're more inclined to continue on that path. Everyone knows of, that's a generalization, but everyone knows of intermittent fasting. Everyone knows of proteins, fats, carbohydrates. But it's until you practice learning the knowledge, implementing the knowledge, practicing the knowledge into your life, when you get to that stage of understanding, that's when it's like, oh, I need protein, I need fats. And this can be applied to any domain of your life. This can be habit and behaviors that you want to work on. I know that I get angry. An example of me is I know that I sugarcoat, and I know that I find it easier to run away from situations than address them head on. So I'm going to practice hearing my throat and my heart and my gut give me the words that I need to say. I'm going to practice addressing them when they come to life. And sometimes it's taken me a day to speak it. Sometimes it's taken me a couple of seconds. Sometimes it's taken a bit of sugar coating and the other party has to continuously push me to get my answer out. I practice staying and working things out because I understand that running away doesn't make the issue resolved. I understand from my past experience that running away, the same situation is only going to arise again in a different form, and I have to go through it again. So I know that I sugarcoat. I'm practicing being bold, blunt, and truthful in everything, no matter how difficult. And I'm beginning to understand how that's benefiting my relationships. I'm beginning to understand just how deeper I can go with my loved ones. There's a knowing, there's a practicing, there's an understanding. What do you know about yourself that's not working? Is there a part inside of you, in your body, in your nervous system, and you know it's at unease? Do you feel discomfort? Do you know that your hip is in pain? Okay, well, let's practice addressing it. Let's practice diving into it. Let's practice nourishing stretches. Let's practice being open to releasing whatever that may be. The more you practice it, the more you acknowledge it, the more you address that, hey, I know this is wrong. I know I'm at unease. I know something's up. And you practice, you deepen your understanding of what is the core issue. What is going to come out of this practice. And then you understand the shifts in your body. The more you can apply this, there's a lot of approaches to it, but the more you can apply this 3-step approach to your life, finding what there is that you know, practicing, diving into it, addressing it, giving it your fullest attention and efforts. Oh, I just saw in a prickle. And then taking the time to understand what these practices are doing, understand what you're finding out. You really are just creating a deeper connection with your body. And the more you approach situations in this manner, the easier it gets. The easier you find things that you need to work on. The easier it gets to stay consistent and determined in your practices. It provides more motivation because you already understand the rewards that you're going to gain out of it. It's that deeper connection, it's that deeper awareness, it's a weight that gets lifted off your shoulders. It's, I've sorted that out now, like I'm free, the shackles are off, you know what I mean? It's not easy because, we're humans and we do things wrong. We take a course that maybe isn't really serving us in the best way. But if we're stubborn and our ego gets the better of us and says, that's just who we are, that's how we do things, but it doesn't feel good for you, change it. Oh, I'm just someone that drinks my emotions away. That's who I am. Oh, I'm someone that's outspoken in a way that takes stabs at people. That's just who I am. Oh, I am just selfish when it comes to X, Y, Z. Yeah, maybe that's how you've been behaving. That's what you've been practicing. And you know it. So why don't you practice something different? Why don't you practice something that's going to enrich your life? Practice something that's going to elevate you and make you feel better, make you feel more like the sun, more radiant, more warmth, more energy. You know, last year I feel like a big thing that I was practicing, you know, I knew something and I was practicing it, and now I feel like I've come to an understanding. And this again was with the assistance of a loved one. Was some people don't do this. Some people don't stare at themselves in the mirror and say, all right, what do you know? What do you need to practice? What do you need a deeper understanding of? Some people don't do this inner work. And some people just say, this is who I am. And what I was practicing was not addressing things for them. Because I understand that not everyone does this. That there are billions and trillions of people on planet Earth. People who have passed, people still to come, people who are living in this present moment. They just choose not to do the work. And whilst I feel and believe that every single person would benefit in themselves and contribute to the world by doing their inner work, I understand that not everybody does it. I understand that I cannot control that. I understand through practice that just by simply showing up as who I am, focusing on my own energy, the way that I show up in my social life, that is enough for others to witness. And they can decide for themselves. There are some people that may be in my presence, and I don't say this in a way of like, oh, I have a holy presence, I have this beautiful energetic presence that's irresistible. I mean this in a sense of there are some people that are in my presence that feel safe and feel the energy, and there are some people that are intrigued by that and want to continue that. They want to continue the relationship with me, and they get inquisitive and curious on, what do you do? And there are some people that just are in my space and they're just, that's you, Eleni, and this is me. And something, like I said, that I was practicing, that I now understand is that's just what some people do. My caring heart and my unique experience of this life wants everybody to feel this way. Wants everybody to do the work and create space in their body that can be fulfilled with love and joy and positivity and all good things, but that isn't yet the way the world works. Perhaps one day we'll all live in communes and money isn't real and we work off the good of our hearts and put our skill sets together. We reap what we sow as one. And we all support each other through our journeys, no matter the decisions. There's no judgment. There's no conniving. No manipulation. There's a real felt nature of the collective that is harnessing their power from within. That's just what I dream at night. But I know that that is not yet the world that we live in. Maybe another time, another place, who knows. But I guess that's all I have to say for this morning. So thank you. And take some time now to reflect on what you know, what you can practice, and what you want to understand.